Hi guys, and welcome back to Magerikk Gaming Channel. My name is Jacob. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor video. Today guys, we are finally gonna take a look at my guide on how you can become the best Frost Mage you could ever possibly think of when it comes to Warlords of Draenor PvP in 6.0. Oh well, it's 6.0.3 right now, I think. But screw that, who gives a shit? I'm back guys, and I'm doing so great. I'm doing more better than I'm ever doing before. So just can't wait to get back into business and make this guide for you. I'm gonna go over everything, the usual stuff. Now, as you all know, Reforging are gone. They've made a huge change to gems and enchants. You know, not huge, but they're not so common. Like, you don't have so much gear that you can put gems on anymore, and the enchants are also different than we used to, because you can't enchant every single gear. You can't enchant every single piece of gear now. You can only enchant, like, yeah, your rings, necklace, your weapon, and your cloak. I think that's pretty much it. But enough about that. Let's just focus up and get right on to the video. I'm gonna start out with Talons and Builds. Alright guys, hope you guys will enjoy. If you have been on this channel for quite a while, then you know the routine of my guides. I simply start out with Talents and Builds. Let's do this. As you can see on your screen right now, you can see my talent tree. These are the talents that I think are the best, simply as that. Alright, let's move on to enchants. No, just kidding guys. Okay, so here you can see an overview of mage talents in WoD. Let's go, let's just quick summarize, okay, the talents. And in the first tier of talents, we got Evenness, Blazing Speed, and Ice Flows. Evenness is a very overpowered talent. I think it's a nice talent, not overpowered. I just think it's a nice talent overall. But the bad thing about it is that it replaces Ice Bucket. It makes you immune to all damage for 3 seconds, and it's also castable while using other spells. Yeah, it's very good. But 3 seconds compared to Ice Bucket, which is 10 seconds. No thank you, Blizzard. No thank you. I don't like this. It's a nice way to actually make you immune instead of Ice Bucket, and yeah. You cannot get dispel while you're inside Evenness, but still, I think 3 seconds is a bit too low. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 seconds. 5 seconds, then it would be so great if you ask me. But 4, no, but 3, not so much. It's okay, but I think Icebug is better. And why I think this is because they've added a new glyph to mages in this expansion. Yeah, my glyph UI is fucked up, but you can still see out here in the side, you can see the glyph of regenerative ice, which is a new glyph they've introduced for Icebug. You regenerate 4% of your maximum health every 1 second for the duration of Icebug. So this means you're inside Icebug for 10 seconds and you will get healed up for 40% of your maximum health over that duration. Simply as that. So I think this is a very, very good talent, but not compared to Icebug, and especially not if you're going with a glyph. Alright. Blazing Speed. I've chosen Blazing Speed because Blazing Speed is just so good, guys. If you want to hunt down your target, like if your target gets away from you, can like easily just use Blazing Speed really quick and use Blink right afterwards. Then you should be able to catch up onto him. Or if it's a feral druid, then you're screwed. But and it's also a good way to get away from combat, much easier, and just overall, if you're like in an arena, you can like hide behind a pillar very easily. Yeah, let's just say you're in an arena, you can easily hide behind a pillar, and yeah, just stand there and use your ice block, whatever. Very nice to get to your specific locations much easier. And ice flows is also good. It makes so you can cast while move. This has 3 charges and it will take 20 seconds for a recharge. Okay, I think it's great in some ways. Okay, it's okay, but I have seen better. I have like what can I say? I mean, it is okay. It's just that we Frost Mages have pretty much got instant spells, except for like Frostbolt and Blizzard, which is a challenging spell. but you don't want to use Frost Firebolt in combat because it takes way too long, and you won't even get to cast a single Frost Firebolt because so many melee classes are such scumbags who can like counter you with silence, with stuns, with everything. CC in my ass all the time, and I just hate that. So and probably a K mages would be very efficient with this, and also a fire mage, I don't know, but they can use Scorch anyway to prog up their fire, no, their power blast, but I don't really give a fuck. This is a Frost Mage guy, god damn it, so that's not good in my opinion. All the time, okay, let's go down to the second tier of talents. All the time Flame Glow and Ice Bear, as you can see, all the time is now a level 30 talent, and all the time is a great talent, or it was a great spell, but now they like made it what it used to be, what it was meant to be. All the time is where you can like use it. So if I'm standing right here and I use all the time and I have a rogue in my ass, literally a rogue is fucking nuking me, and I want to get away from this rogue or just troll him while I can, while I'm still alive, or Retribution Paladin, yeah, let's just say Retribution Paladin. So I use all the time and I quickly get away from my target. Now then he catch up onto me, he keeps hunting me down, and I'll just use all the time, and I'll get right back here where I activated. Alright, you can use it, and you will be able to get it back here. And if you didn't click it twice, then you will get back to your location no matter what after 10 seconds after the activation. But what this was all about in Mr. Pandaria is that you could use this. So imagine if I had full procs, all my triggers were activated, and all my shit were just up, and I could one-shot them so easily. All my procs too, I could use all the time to get in another dimension. Use all my procs against this specific target right here. Boom, boom, boom. Use all the time to get back out, and easy as that. And then you could use it like twice, so that was so good. But they've changed this, so now it's not so great for offensive, but defensive and like trolling or countering, it's also good, but also sketchy, because if the opponent if the opponent you're against is clever enough to think that you just used all the time, then they will just camp on your original spawn point, your original place to be, and then they will just wait for you to get back. You can of course get away if you like use all the time and get away as much as possible, like jump off a cliff, but that will also result you in dying, I don't know. Flame Glow though, Flame Glow protects you with fairy energy, absorbing up to 1125 damage from each attack against you, up to 30% of each attack. Alright. Flame Glow, Flame Glow, Flame Glow. I've been telling you guys this before, okay? It's a passive spell, which means it's a good thing, but also the fact that it is not absorbing that much makes it suck. But passive is nice, but Ice Bear is just twice as good because it absorbs freaking almost 19,000 damage, which is 19 times more than Flame Glow. And it is so good when you're into the arenas, and it only has a 25-second cooldown. And when you prog your stuff, you'll probably be able to get it above 20k damage absorb. So it's really good. Good. So the third tier of talents. Ring of Frost, Ice Ward, and Frost Jar. Frost Jar is not so good. I mean, of course, the more freeze you have, the better, and it will also silence the enemy, okay? But we Frost Mages have freeze ability, which is something our Water Elementals got. So like, look at this. That's a very nice way to actually AoE freeze opponents from a far distance. And Frost Jar is mostly for Arcane and Fire Mages who haven't got their Water Elemental by their side. So I just think Ring of Frost is just so much better, because you can like freeze up to 10 targets, and you can place it at the top on you. Like, you can place it right here, and if you stand inside it, no melee class are just even daring attacking you, because they will get freezed and you can like get away from them much easier. And Ice Ward is also great, but it is also sketchy. Pet, shut up, you're not supposed to attack right now. Okay. But if a rogue is attacking you, you can like use Ice Ward, which is also very good. But if you're against mages, it's not so great. Like, you can also trap enemies. Like, if I use Ring of Frost around this Raider's training dummy here, if the target moves out of the ring, they will also get freezed. So you can like trap them inside, and they will not be able to move. And if they do, they will probably waste their trinket or something like that. I don't know. Let's go down to the fourth tier: Great Invisibility, Cauterize, and Cold Snap. Great Invisibility, no, it replaces invisibility, but it will also make it a lot greater, okay? It will make you invisible instantly, so you don't have to wait like 2 seconds before you get invisible, and it will also make you untargetable for 20 seconds, removing all threat and 2 damage over time effects. Any action taken cancels this effect. You take 90% reduced damage while invisible, and for 3 seconds after the effect expires. So this means that Okay, so you'll be able to get away from combat much easier, but you will also be able to I don't know, be like get away from combat and just get some heals up from your heal. I don't know if you have one. If you do, then you're a fucking lucky guy, and if you do, then great. So like you take 90% reduced damage for 3 seconds after you get out of this shit, as I said, and it's much easier to get away from combat, and that's pretty much my point of view about what great invisibility is. I just think it's a nice way to get away from combat much easier, and it will also reduce the cooldown by invisibility by like 3.5 minutes, which is also great in like battlegrounds or RPGs. If you're in trouble in some arenas, and this is also great. Yeah. Yes. Cauterize is good, and I have misunderstood Cauterize because I once said that you would die of Cauterize. Of course you will if you don't focus up. But when you Cauterize, you can just use Ice Block to get a second chance. So if you use Ice Block right after you got Cauterize, then you will get healed up to 35% of your maximum health, and you won't, I repeat, you won't get nuked down by this effect that Cauterize has. And Cauterize, what it basically is, that if you die, you won't die. You will get healed up to 35% health, and you will burn for 28% of your maximum health over 6 seconds. So these 6 seconds, they're good to get away from combat and get some heals up, but if you're in combat, then you're screwed, and if you don't have Ice Block up, you will die pretty much, because those last, 7% health is not enough to keep you alive. Sorry dude, but it's not. But very good, it can save you a lot. But, and also of course, every second minute. But I also think Cold Snap is much better, because immediately resets the cooldown of your Ice Block, Cone of Cold, and Frost Nova spells. Okay, Frost Nova is gone because of Ice Nova, but we'll get to that later. But Cold Snap is just a great spell, because we mages don't have so much self heals in this expansion. I admit that. Okay, but Cold Snap makes it so you will get 20% of your maximum health when you use it, which is always a good thing. Like if you're dying at BG, arena overall. And also when you like get Ice Block up, and then it will go on 5-minute cooldown. Then you can just use Cold Snap like after a minute, because you will get a debuff that will make you so that you are not able to use Ice Block right after you just used it, because that will just be too OP, right? So you can use Ice Block, then wait 1 minute instead of 5 minutes, and use Cold Snap again to get Ice Block back, and that will result you in probably surviving longer in arenas. And it has saved me thousands of times in arenas, and I have won many games because of this, because I just because I was playing defensive with this little combo. Okay, and it also reduces the cooldown of Cone of Cold. I don't use that much. I mean, 12 seconds is okay in my opinion, but I just think it's a nice build compared to Cauterize. Cauterize is good, but not compared to Cold Snap, because you will be able to heal, you'll be able to have a double Ice Block and stuff like that. So let's go down to the fifth tier of talents: Frost Bomb, Unstable Magic, and Ice Nova. Okay, Frost Bomb. I once thought this was the best talent, but it's not, guys. Places a Frost Bomb on the target for 12 seconds. Okay, got it. You can only use this on one target at a time. And then your Ice Lances that benefit from Shatter, which is your Ice Lances that are proc like this. If you have Frost Bomb on your target, and then you use Ice Lance which are procced like this, which will crit, then your target will take average amount of frost damage, and also frost damage over second. Your target will take average amount of frost damage, and enemies around your target will also take damage as well. But I just think that it is it's not like every time you will get some shatters up like your Ice Lance will proc. It's just different. It's just sketchy to go with, in my opinion, because the RNG, guys, the RNG, which is the random number generator, is always a bullshit thing, because sometimes you're just unlucky enough to like get only one Ice Lance procced in arena, and that's not good. So just go with Ice Nova, okay, which we will get to in just a minute. And it also takes you 1.4 seconds in order to cast this thing. You can get it interrupted, meanwhile you will not be able to activate it, and if you're in trouble by a rogue or a paladin, I don't know, so not so great compared to what it was in Mr. Pandaria. Oh my god, those were the days. Not really. But Unstable Magic, Arcane Blast, Firebolt, Frost Firebolt, and Frostbolt have a 20% chance to explode on impact, dealing an additional 50% damage to the target and to all other enemies within 8 yards. Okay, so the RNG, which is the 20% chance in this case, that is 1 out of 5 Frostballs, or yeah, Frost Fireballs. Just imagine that, guys. Imagine that you have to cast 5 Frostball in order to get this effect. That's like pretty much it. And then you'll be able to do 50% increased damage. But I just think it's not worth it, in my opinion. I just don't think it's worth it, because 50% damage increase on your frost balls is great, but if it has 20% chance, then it's not so good, in my opinion, because you can always have more safe spells to go with in this case, which is Ice Nova. Alright, what Ice Nova does is that it will cause a whirl of icy wind around the target or ally, dealing a high amount of frost damage to all enemies within 8 yards and freezing for 2 seconds. A primary enemy target will take 100% increased damage, max 2 charges. So what this does is that you will be able to freeze your like if this is your main target, enemies around your target will also get freezed like this for 2 seconds, which is also good. It has 2 charges, so you can use it again, and just look how much this does. 25 damage, 25k non-crit, and that's great. Okay, it really is. So like I've got my trinket activated, and now it deals like much more damage, and it just deals so much damage, in my opinion. Okay, it really does. And yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is that you should go with Ice Nova, because you can really do some great burst. You can really do some great burst with this fucking specific piece of talent, and I will show you that later on in the video. Let's go down to the second last tier of talents: Mirror Images, Mirror Image, Rune of Power, and then Incasted Flow. Mirror Image, okay, creates 3 copies of the caster nearby, which cast spells and attacks the mage's enemies. Okay, this once was a spell that everyone could get, but now they've made it so like it's a talent for mages. Which is, oh wait, have I queued up for Ashran? No, I didn't mean that. Alright, Mirror Image. What this does is that it will make you so that you can be able to make 3 copies of yourself, and they've also buffed it quite much, because if you create 3 copies, they will like be doing the same damage as you do. Pretty much, they will like do 50% of your damage. So imagine you have 3 of them, you will be able to do an increased 150% increased damage. Okay. That's always a good thing, but they only stay close to you for 40 seconds, which is not so great, really. I mean, 40 seconds is a long time, but in long matches, I just think Incasted Flow is great overall, because it's a passive spell, okay? And Rune of Power sucks, because you have to place a rune on the ground, and it will take time to cast it, and you have to stand inside the rune in order to get its benefits. So it really sucks, in my opinion. But Incasted Flow, though, magical energy flows through you while in combat, building up to 20% increased damage and then diminishing down to 4% increased damage, cycling every 10 seconds. So in your combat, you will get up to 20% increased damage, and this is a passive effect, so you will actually be able to have a 44% increased spell damage effect all the time. That is the lowest amount of increased damage you will get, but you will get it up to a total up to 20%, which is incredible. It really is. It really is, guys. So Incasted Flow is the best, and it's also a passive, so it's very good. I don't know if you're stupid enough to simply forget to use one of your main abilities, which is Mirror Image, but I'm not. Okay. But last and not least, Thermal Void, Prismatic Crystal, and Coma Storm. Thermal Void, but this is a very basic talent. It is a passive, and it also makes you that it is casting Ice Lance extends your Ice Veins by 2 seconds. Ice Veins are your haste buff that we mages have. It's a very necessary cooldown for opening an arena, so you can get some frost bolts out much quicker, like 30%. That's the same as Time Warp. Okay, and it lasts for 20 seconds though, and it will also make you, yeah, well, who cares? You know what it does, right? So it pretty much just extends it by 2 seconds, but you just can't keep spamming Ice Lance just to get this up, because you're not lucky enough to get Ice Lance proc every time, so it's not that great if you ask me. Coma Storm though, and Prismatic Crystal. Prismatic Crystal is that it will place a crystal on the ground, and if you attack that crystal, then enemies that are close to that crystal will take an additional 10% damage. It's AoE also, but it's okay, but not in PvP, because they can just move away from the crystal, and it's not that great, if you ask me. So Coma Storm is the best, it really is. What this does is that it will call down a series of icy comets, of 7 icy comets, on and around the target, each of each of which does 2k frost damage, which is low, but times 7, that is 14,000, and it will probably increase even more if your target is freezing, and it will be split between all enemies within 4 yards of its impact point. So I can use this really quick. You guys ready? And I know it didn't do that much damage, but in PvP it does more, because my gear is not my gear isn't boosted, because I'm not in PvP combat right now, so I'll get a much higher damage output when this, of course, is in arenas or in BGs. Very nice. Also, I'm sorry guys if it took too long. I couldn't have done it slower than that, in my opinion, because I just thought that I would go over every single talent and pretty much just tell you what I think about that specific talent, and tell you guys what I think about what you should go with and what talents are not so great in my opinion in many ways. And I really had to go over that so you guys are aware of that, what I can recommend you should go with as well. So with that being said, let's move on. Alright, let's move on to stats requirements, gems, and enchants. Stats requirements in WOD are very simple for Frost Mages. Right. So if we move over here to Frost Mages abilities, over here in the passive section, we have Frost Armor, and that increases multi-strike chains by 8%, and we also have Ice Shots, which makes you gain 5% more multi-strike stat from all sources. So just stack multi-strike as much as possible, okay? And then versatility comes as second priority, then intellect, then haste, then mastery. But just focus on multi-strike as much as possible. So go for the gear that has multi-strike on it, and all your enchants and gems. Like, as I said earlier, Warlords of Draenor have got a huge change in gems. I haven't got a single item yet. Not even my epic gladiator gear hasn't got a single gem attached to it. So I can't gem any gear without any gems. It makes sense, right? So that's pretty much it. Just focus on multi-strike. So we can go over here. I'm enchanter, but I can my rings can become effective with multi-strike, my cloak as well, my necklace, and just go all in on multi-strike. And this is the weak version. Like, if we go in here under enchant, you can actually be able to see that we have some more expensive things we can make, so you will get some benefits. Like, this will increase your movement speed by 10%, and this will make you so you will gain more multi-strike. It's always good, just stack up as much as you can. Multi-strike, the more the better, okay? What multi-strike pretty much does is that it will grant us it will give you a chance to deliver extra attacks or heals for 30% of the normal value. So imagine if I have an 18% chance to do 30% extra damage on my Frostbolt or any other spells. It is so great. So I really recommend you to go with multi-strike. Pure multi-strike, guys. Oh my god, the more multi-strike, the better. Alright, the next section is called Glyphs and Macros. Let's kick it up with some glyphs. The minor glyphs are not that important, but they're still nice to have, like to make your world elemental look much more unique and makes you much more wit. Just kidding. Okay, but you can get the glyph of Unbound Elemental, which makes your ward elemental look like this. And the glyph of condensation will make your water elemental grow by 40% in size. Okay, the major glyphs are the glyph of regenerative ice, the glyph of deep freeze, and the glyph of polymorph. Okay, regenerative ice. I've told you about this previously, but it's a very nice glyph because it makes you regenerate by 4% of your maximum health every second while in ice block. So imagine if you're inside ice block by a total of 10 seconds, you will get healed up for 40% of your maximum health, which is so great in my opinion. Deep freeze also makes it so that it doesn't have a global cooldown, and what I mean about this is that it's like if this is your target, you can get a deep freeze on right away, like this. No global cooldown, which is also great. The duration will get reduced by 1 second. But another thing, deep freeze has also changed in this expansion, because deep freeze, if you cast a single spell on your target while he's deep freezed, then it will break the ice. So like that, it will give you enough time anyway to cast a single frostball after a ice lance, which will crit on both spells because you're like casting them at the same time. It's always a good thing. Glyph of Polymorph. Your Polymorph spell also removes all damage over time effects from the target, so like if it's a healer and we have some darts in him, instead of waiting for him to get those darts off and he will probably be able to heal the DPS in time, we can just use the Glyph of a Polymorph to get those darts away right away and just Polymorph that dude and keep him silent, because that is always a good thing, okay? Right, macros are the same, no, not those, but here, the the macro of Ice Block, the Polymorph macro, and the PvP macro, which pretty much just use all my PvP things at once, use all my cooldowns at once. The silence makes it so that I'm able to interrupt my cast right away and silence the opponent right away, so I'm not going to have to move in order to prevent me from casting or anything like that. And the Polymorph macro is pretty much a mouse over macro. I prefer mouse over macros in this case. You can also go with focus macros. You can make sure the healer in your opponent's team will get focus. It's like /focus the healer, and every time the healer is there, you can like make it so that you will be able to polymorph that dude without even having him as the main target. Okay, I'll put it in the description, guys, so you can just pretty much just copy paste it to your own macro section. And last but not least, the macro of Ice Block, which makes it so you can use Ice Block much quicker than ever before. It works just like a trigger, like this, so quick to get away from stuff. So nice, if you ask me. Alright guys, now for the last and most difficult part of the video, rotations, and pretty much how to open on your target when you're about to go into an arena or a BG, I don't know, any kind of situation, okay? So, I'll try to do this as quick as possible, but also in a way so you guys can understand me just fine, so you don't have to ask me twice in the comments. I mean, you of course, you're welcome to if you misunderstood something, but I will try to be as specific and be as understandable as possible. So I will have to be very careful what I say, okay? So you don't misunderstand me, because this is a very important part. Because Frost Mage has changed a lot in Mist of Pandaria. Not in Mist of Pandaria. What am I talking about? I'm probably an expansion behind, if you ask me. No, Warlords of Draenor, of course. Okay. So imagine if we're going into an arena, okay? You want to make sure your buffs are activated when you're about to open. Every time, make sure your buffs are activated. Or if you're in an arena, if you're doing a BG, then activate your crystal or anything. If you got some items that you can use to get some more stats, to just get more damage output. Like in a BG, in a non-rated BG, you can always use these visions of insanity. Will increase your stats quite much, if you ask me. And if you're in an arena, and if you're in a BG overall, just make sure you got every single buff that you can get, as much damage output as possible. So make sure also that your ice barrier is activated. I said it twice so you guys can hear me. Right before you use invisibility, because it has a 1 minute duration, and that is enough. So let's just pretend you're using invisibility. This is my target, okay? This is my target. And I'll move into battle, into arena. Oh, it's a Retribution Paladin, that scumbag. Or is it a rogue? I don't know. Oh well, it was a feral druid. Alright, I'll kick his nuts anyway. I'll nuke its balls off. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna freeze him first, just pretty much counter him. Use Ring of Frost around him so that he's not able to move out of it. And then simply just use Frost now, offensive cooldowns, a single Frost Bolt, use Ice Lance. Then you wanna use a Deep Freeze, Comet Storm, and Ice Nova twice. And just Ice Lance and Frost Ice Nova again. So many different spells at one time. You also want to make sure that your pet is on passive, not on. You also want to make sure your pet is on assist, not on passive, like me, because I'm a fucking douchebag who can't remember to make proper guides for you guys. Okay, I'm just kidding. But you just want to make sure that your pet is on assist as well, and your freeze ability is ready at any time. Water Elemental also got a new spell, which is called Water Jet. It's like a beam that will channel for 4 seconds and will deal a high amount of frost damage overall, okay? That's pretty much it. But what I'm trying to say here is that if you're moving into arena, then the first thing you should do is to pretty much freeze your target, okay? I'm gonna go over it again much slower. Freeze your target, then use defreeze around your target so he's like trapped. Then you use Frost Knob, all your global cooldowns, a single Frost Ball afterwards, an Ice Lance, then use defreeze, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, first Ice Lance again, and then Ice Nova. And you want to be using Ice Lance only if it's proc. Don't want to waste your time on that. Even though I didn't proc a single Frost Fireball, that was weird. but use all your shit if it's proc, okay? Remember that. Come on, Pit, attack that dude. Attack, Pit! Don't be stupid. But just pretty much make sure that you use your spells every time they proc, of course. Okay? Okay. So, the other thing is that when you've done that, you will not just stand still and wait for wait for your teammates to kill your target. No, you want to be okay. So your Common Storm refreshes quite fast, along with Ice Nova. Ooh, nice. But overall, the most normal spell Frost Mage can cast is, of course, Frostbolt. Okay, Pet, shut up. But you want to make sure Frostbolt is a filler spell. Okay, use Frostbolt as much as you can to stack up 5 icicles. You want to make sure you got everything. Oh, Frost Firebolt is procced along with Ice Lances, and you want to make sure you cast your stuff at your opponent right away, because imagine if you wait with your Frost Firebolt, you think it can wait for later. No, it can't, because imagine that if you are saving it for later, you will probably be able to get more procs over that duration, but you will only be able to get like 1 Frost Firebolt proc and 2 Ice Lances. So if you're at max, then use all your shit right away and just do it. I mean, no, don't hesitate. It's simple as that. So use Frostbolt as a filler spell. Use all your shit whenever it's possible. Now I'm just like pretending I'm overall damage here, okay? So use all your shit. And the fact is, if you use Deep Freeze, you will also be able to waste an Ice Lance. So if you got double Ice Lance, then it's not best to use Deep Freeze, because then you will pretty much waste 1 Ice Lance just for a Deep Freeze that will fade, that will disappear from your target in a second. Like, it disappears so quick from any types of damage. You just want to throw your shit at your target right away. Of course I'm gonna be putting it in the description below on what you guys should do. What I just said, I'm gonna put it in the description so you can go take a look at it. But pretty much just use Frostball as a filler spell every time when everything else is cooler. But just use your shit overall, guys. And what I can recommend you to simply do is to simply go into some BGs or some skirmishes. Probably not skirmishes, because you will just piss off your opponent if you don't know what to do. Just go into some BGs and practice against these training dummies, what I just said, and you will be able to do optimized damage on your burst and overall damage. Just practice, guys. Just get used to the fact that you have to use all your shit whenever you can. And but yeah, of course you do most damage like if your opponent is frozen. So imagine if my target is freezed, I will of course be able to do much more damage if my target is frozen, and that includes. So imagine if I freeze my target really quick, I use Ice Snow along with it, then it will have a much higher chance to crit, which is also a good thing. So I really hope you guys understood everything I just said, and if you don't, then yeah, just comment below. I'll be here for you guys, for the people that have a hard time understanding what I'm trying to say to you. But I'll also put some things in the description, guys, where you can take a look at that. That was pretty much it. I'm gonna get my wave macro out and in this video with a huge smile upon my face, because I'm finally done making this video for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, thumbs it up. It all sells. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you all. You're in my heart. Blah blah blah. Okay, just kidding. No, of course, I love it. I love it. I love you guys. See you guys in the next one, okay? Take care, guys, and stay tuned for a lot more nice content in the near future, okay? See you soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Peace out.